We'd do anything for kids. Yet 1 in 6 children in the U.S. struggle with hunger. Help end childhood hunger near you. Learn how at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome to the Greater Cleveland Food Bank and to the kickoff of our 2019 Harvest for Hunger campaign. All right. I'm Krista Morzoka, President and CEO of the Greater Cleveland Food Bank, and it is my pleasure and privilege to welcome you all here today. Thanks for braving the cold, for coming out to join us on this important occasion as we work to raise awareness and dollars in food for people in our community who need it. I want to start by recognizing a very important group, our Food Bank Board of Directors, led by my boss, Felton Thomas, who also leads the Cleveland Public Library system. I know we've got quite a number of board members in the room. Thank you so much to our trustees for your commitment and for your wonderful engagement. Harvest for Hunger is a collaborative effort of 4 Northeast Ohio food banks serving 21 counties. It's coordinated by the Greater Cleveland Food Bank in partnership with the Akron-Canton Regional Food Bank, Second Harvest Food Bank of the Mahoning Valley in Youngstown, and the Second Harvest Food Bank of North Central Ohio, which serves Lorain County and counties west. It is one of the largest food and funds drives in the nation, and it is absolutely critical to our shared work and success, providing meals to people who need them. This campaign brings together hundreds of companies, schools, supermarket partners, and other organizations, and literally tens of thousands of individuals to fight hunger right here in Northeast Ohio. For 40 years, our relentless goal at the Greater Cleveland Food Bank has been to provide the highest quality, most nutritious food for everyone in our community who needs it. In recent years, we began outreach efforts to connect people who are food insecure with other services as well, to help shorten the line at local hunger centers and help people improve their food security in the long run. That includes wonderful efforts to connect people to the SNAP program, also known as food stamps. In our 6-county service area, in partnership with nearly 1,000 partner programs, the Greater Cleveland Food Bank serves over 300,000 of our neighbors a year who don't always know where their next meal is coming from. But the fact remains that 1 in 6 people in our community struggles to put nutritious food on the table, and they're making really tough choices, choosing between paying for food and medicine, food and transportation, or food and utilities. The recent polar vortex and the longest government shutdown in U.S. history were stark reminders of the hard choices that people have to make, the folks that we work with every day, and just how many Northeast Ohioans and Americans are living paycheck to paycheck with very little room for interruption or for error. The first day that federal employees didn't receive paychecks, they started calling the food bank, and they started coming in for help. And the good news is that because of all of your support and because of great efforts like the Harvest for Hunger campaign, we could make sure that they and contractors who work with the federal government, and frankly, folks who are affected by job loss every day of the year, have access to the food that they need when emergencies strike. Thanks to those of you in this room, fewer people will go hungry when something like that happens. And this is where Harvest for Hunger comes in. We need the community's support to continue to serve working poor families, struggling seniors, and others in our community who need us, and turn to us and to our partner agencies for help. To tell you more, I would like to introduce our 2019 co-chairs of the Harvest for Hunger campaign, Rick Chiricosta and Paul Clark. You'll both come up. While Rick is new to the Harvest for Hunger, co-chair role specifically, he is not new to the food bank or to our work. Rick is the chairman, president, and CEO of Medical Mutual, and Medical Mutual is a longtime supporter of the food bank and the Harvest for Hunger campaign. Rick is a wonderful, generous donor and has been a member of our kitchen cabinet for many years. Last year, Medical Mutual employees raised more than $25,000 for the drive, and we are so grateful to everyone at the Medical Mutual organization for their incredible support. Rick, thank you for your great leadership and generosity to this year's campaign. I also want to introduce Paul Clark, who many of you will remember. He is now in his second year co-chairing the Harvest for Hunger campaign. He's the regional president of PNC Bank, and I so enjoyed getting to know Paul through last year's effort, getting to know him a little better, I should say, through last year's effort. We're thrilled that he's back for a second year of service, and Paul, I'm glad we didn't chase you away. Thanks for your continued commitment. PNC's team contributed more than $66,000 to last year's drive, and we are really grateful. They also volunteer on a very regular basis here at the food bank, supporting our various children's programs. So we're grateful for the leadership of both of our co-chairs and their organizations, and it's my pleasure to turn the microphone over to first Paul and then Rick to tell you more about this year's effort. Thank you.
Thanks, Kristen. Well, good morning, everybody. Kristen, thanks for your incredible leadership. You've led this organization for many years, and it's just an incredible team you've put together to accomplish God's work, needed work, more and more each year. So thanks for that. And you have elevated the discussion around hunger and how we can alleviate hunger to a new degree. So thanks. Have a round of applause for Kristen and the team. So I'm going to go off script a little bit, and so the food bank team is freaking out right now. But Karen Dolan is here. Karen, I'm sorry I made all my mistakes last year. Although I'm making new mistakes with Rick. I'm just not repeating the same ones. But it's great to see you, and thank you for your leadership in the 2 years that you were working the campaign. Please, a round of applause for Karen and the Indians who have been so supportive. And fresh from Cuyahoga County Common Pleas Court jury duty, Kristen Baird Adams is here somewhere. She was released and she was able to get here. Where are you, Kristen? There you are, right there, my colleague at PNC. I have to ask, who is here for the first time? Never been to this before. You're in for a treat in the sense that you're going to see the Simperman-Ronayne act that ought to have an hour on prime time. It's so good. And they're going to be up later to kick this off. But I am really proud and grateful to be able to participate in this year's Harvest for Hunger campaign, and really excited about our efforts this year and where we are as we kick this off. And Rick, thanks for stepping up and being the co-chair this year. I love working with you. No one is more committed to this community than Rick Chiricosta and his team at Medical Mutual and the company itself. So thank you for that. We'll keep raising the awareness of this work. The script says add a personal comment, and I will. I want to thank the food bank for asking me to do this. And I know I speak for Karen and Rick and anybody else who's been in this role. I've learned more about Cleveland and the needs of Cleveland through working at this campaign. This issue is subtle. It's a bit invisible at times. It is unbelievable who participates and uses the food bank. Friends, neighbors, high school buddies I've known for a lifetime. So I'm really grateful to have had this opportunity to learn more about our great, great, great community and how so many people come together to help it in this particular way. So again, thank you for asking me to do this. And this is where my sales pitch begins, because there's a lot of ways everybody can participate. One is to make a cash donation directly to Harvest for Hunger. Every dollar you donate really provides food for 4 meals. it's incredible leverage that the food bank gets in the way that they both aggregate food, the magic of this incredible facility that we're in, and how they are able to distribute it through all the people that they work with. But that's the easiest and fastest way. You can go online, www.harvestforhunger.org, and make a contribution. Really encourage you to do that. This is all about participation. It's not about how much money any participant gives. If we increase the participation at any dollar amount, we're going to have a win. So please, if you could do that, that would be great. On Sunday, March 10th through April 21st is a real fun thing, which is Checkout Hunger promotion. Fun thing in the sense that if you're at Giant Eagle or Heinen's or Buehler's or Dave's or Fisher's, the cashiers will engage you in the aisle with, would you participate in the Harvest for Hunger? It's also fun in the sense last year I was bagging groceries at Heinen's downtown, and I hope you've been able, if anybody from Heinen's is here, I hope you've been able to recover from that mayhem. But, you know, we raised more than $1.5 million last year in this campaign. And again, we have great partners that we work with. They'll ask you for $1 or $5 or $10. It's just added to your bill. If you're asked, if you see the coupons in the aisle, please take a coupon. Please participate. Please say yes. And again, we're thrilled to have in the audience today representatives from our partners, and they do just a great job. They spend a lot of time working with their teams to make sure this is as successful as ever. So if I could ask people who are representing Dave's, Heinen's, Giant Eagle, and United Food and Commercial Workers Local 880, if you could stand and be recognized so we can give you a round of applause. Thank you very much. Special thanks. We really, really appreciate it. There's one other way you can help support this year's Harvest for Hunger campaign, and it's the Market at the Food Bank, which is going to be Sunday, April 28th. Sunday, April 28th. I used to say mark your calendars, but do whatever you do on your phone to get that plugged in, because it's a great event. 50 chefs are here. This room is transformed. It looks completely different than it does today. You know, Cleveland's got a great food scene. We all enjoy it. But I got to tell you, the chefs who participate and make that food scene possible, they are passionate about alleviating hunger. And they all come together for this wonderful night. Tickets are on sale now. You'll find more information as you're leaving. And we just really encourage you to be able to participate if you could. So thanks for all you're doing, and I'll get out of the way and ask my co-chair, Rick, to talk about some other ways in which you can participate. But again, thank you for asking me to do this, and please participate. This really works well when we all pitch in together. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Paul. First of all, I want to say thanks to Paul for serving with me as co-chair. And, you know, it's too early for a retirement tribute to Paul. He's got 3 weeks left on the job, so PNC wants him focusing on the job at hand, okay? So, but I do think I got to do this even though you're retiring. You said something inaccurate up here, and I hate to embarrass you and correct you, but I'm going to anyway. He said there's nobody that cares more about this community than me, and the truth of the matter is, here's a person right here who has been a leader in this community for so long, and his company's been a leader for so long, and I think we all owe him a round of applause and a gracious thank you. And Kristen, thanks for asking me. I think it was 3 years ago you made that call. And just so everybody knows, when I say yes, even though I deferred for a year or two, I actually lived up to my promise. So, you know, I'm really, really proud to be able to be part of this. It's terrific for the community, and thank you for asking me. And it's really important we get everybody involved in the campaign. I know you've heard this a million times. For those that are new, maybe you haven't, but for every dollar, excuse me, the food bank can provide 4 nutritious meals. So if you think about that, that dollar at checkout, that $5 at checkout, it's 20 meals for people. And I don't think people really focus on that enough, because if you did, you'd never walk through that line and not throw some money in there. It's such a great way to help people for so little money. So it is worth repeating. I think we need to continue to raise awareness in Northeast Ohio, encouraging people to step up and help whatever way they can. You know, our community is well known for its generosity, and I'm confident that we'll keep that going for this campaign and make a big difference. I've been involved with the food bank for a number of years, as Kristen said, and you know, one of the things I think does differentiate it from other things, and we have so many great initiatives going on in the town that are all designed to help people, and they do. But you know, I've thought about this a couple of times, and you know, many of those are things that are going to pay off in the long run. And of course, the long run payoff is critical and important, because if you don't structurally change things, you'll always be dealing with it. But at the same time, there's a huge need right now. And I think that's what differentiates the food bank campaign from so many of the other initiatives. It's helping people who need it, and it's helping them right now. And I just think people need to keep that in mind as you think about your support for this campaign. I also want to encourage as many companies as possible across Northeast Ohio to be part of this campaign. There's still time to get involved if you haven't made that commitment yet. Last year, we raised more than $1.7 million through corporate support, and we need to do more than that, and we will do more than that this year. Workplace drives and employee giving initiatives, they're at the heart of this campaign, and they're critical to its success. More than 500 companies in our area host employee food and funds drives for Harvest for Hunger every year. In addition for doing something impactful for the community, these companies are seeing the benefit of the team building and the morale boosting that goes along with that. And I can tell you, at Medical Mutual, over the last few years, we've really had tremendous success recruiting some outstanding talent into our company. I'm very proud of that. But we also do a lot of surveys of those people and ask them why they chose to come work for us. And the number one answer that we've gotten every year is because of our reputation and what we do in the community. So there's a real benefit to our company for doing the things we do, and I love that. We do great things, and it helps us. You know, that's a win-win-win for all of us. So as far as the Harvest for Hunger campaign, you get your company involved. You can make it fun. You can turn it into an employee benefit. You can make it things that are going to help you attract quality people to come work for you. I can tell you the young professionals love this stuff. When we turn over to them, give them the opportunity to participate, do something good, have fun with their coworkers, it's a real plus for them. And that's the group. We're all going after the same group of people, folks. We're all trying to hire them. And so think about the ways that you can put yourself at the lead in trying to get those people. And while I'm on that note, I would like to introduce a colleague of mine who's here, Maggie Capello. Maggie, would you stand up? Maggie's one of our young professionals. She's terrific. She's one of those outstanding recruits that we've brought into MMO over the last few years, and the kind of the force behind all the things that we do for the campaign. So thanks, Maggie, for everything you do for us and for the community. But we have fun with the stuff we do. You know, we have access to some nice event tickets and things like that. We'll do raffles, we'll do auctions. We're actually having a day, and we're lucky enough to have a dugout suite. We've had one since day one with the Indians. And in May, we're going to have a day where 8 of our folks are going to get to, maybe get to spend the day in there. If you're supporting the Harvest for Hunger campaign, you go into the queue to try to win tickets to go spend the afternoon in there with me. And that's a huge opportunity for people who would never get an opportunity to spend the afternoon in a dugout suite. So that's a fun thing to do. One of my favorites that we've done is we have had karaoke a few times in our cafeteria. And you want to have some fun. You know, the way it works is, I look around for some of the management people, and I throw up a number that this is the amount of money that I'm going to put in for them to sing. And they either sing, or they raise enough money to top my bid. And that's fun. And people have it, and then we get the young people that, you know, they'll do it for free, but, you know, they still have to pay to do it. So it's a lot of fun. And there's so many things like that you can do. And that's what it's fun about running a business where you can have fun and do good. It's terrific. Paul and I have reached out to a whole bunch of leaders in this community. We've got an extraordinary group of talented individuals that are going to help us steer the campaign. As of right now, we have 70 companies on the kitchen cabinet, and you can find the list of those members online. And if you haven't signed your organization up to participate, it's not too late. Engage your company, your school, your church. Talk to any of the food bank staff that are here today, or go to harvestforhunger.org for more info. Last year, we raised enough food and funds to provide 22 million meals. We have to keep challenging ourselves. This year, the goal is bigger than ever. We want to raise enough food and funds to provide more than 22 million meals for our hungry neighbors. The highest campaign ever is what we're going to end up with this year. At this time, I'd like to take a minute to acknowledge our honorary co-chairs. Unfortunately, Mayor Frank Jackson could not be here with us today, and I know he is as committed as ever to the Harvest for Hunger campaign and obviously for the betterment of our community. And the City of Cleveland employees consistently conduct the largest food and funds drive on behalf of Harvest for Hunger, and they've done so for many years. Last year, they topped $117,000. And thanks to all the City of Cleveland employees for their tireless efforts. And could anyone who works for the City of Cleveland stand up and be recognized for being part of that great campaign? That's so awesome, and the generosity of the people that work for our city makes me very proud to work in this great city. At this time, I'd like to introduce our other honorary co-chair, County Executive Armand Budish. And this campaign is significant not just to Cuyahoga County residents, but to families all around Northeast Ohio. We all know that. And sometimes there's a perception that hunger is a City of Cleveland issue, but we all know it's not. It's an issue in Cleveland, it's an issue everywhere. Last year, the county employees helped raise more than $62,000 for Harvest for Hunger, and that's a great accomplishment in itself. How about a round of applause for the Cuyahoga County employees? And it's great to have Armin here today, and with that, I'll turn the microphone over to him.
I want to start by recognizing, I know my colleague on County Council, Jack Schron, was here. Are you here, Jack? Still? There in the back. Thank you. And I'm thrilled to be here supporting Kristen and the food bank, and to thank two of my good friends, Rick Chiricosta and Paul Clark. You know, sometimes politicians say people are their good friends, but they're really not. But here, they really are my good friends, and I appreciate them. And I should mention, it sounded like Paul may have given us a hint as to his next job, since he's retiring shortly, bagging groceries at Heinen's. Food insecurity is a real problem. 1 in 5 children in the county are food insecure, and I've seen seniors who really have to make a choice between medicine and food, and that's a choice people shouldn't have to make. The Harvest for Hunger campaign and the food bank make a huge difference in our community. Now, you're going to be concerned because I'm going to go off script for a minute too, following Paul's footsteps. I want to tell you a little bit about some of the great things that the food bank does that people generally don't see. SNAP, or food stamps, is the biggest funder of food for people in need. And this past year, the state adopted a new system for delivering the SNAP program, which should be good eventually, but it's created problems. It's created delays and incorrect denials, and not just for the state, but also the counties had issues with it, even though it's really not her job. Kristen and her team at the food bank together have played a crucial role in pointing out the issues and in advocating for their fixes, and it makes a big difference, and I want to thank you, Kristen, and the team for doing that. They do a whole lot of things that people don't see, and it really is important. Now, back to Harvest for Hunger, I just want to say tear off a coupon when you go to the grocery store line and get together with your coworkers and host a drive at work. And let's make this year the best year ever for Harvest for Hunger. Thank you. I almost forgot. I get to introduce Darnell Brown. Darnell is a food bank board member and chief operating officer for the city of Cleveland and a friend also. Darnell, come on up.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How is everyone? Good. As you can tell, I am not Mayor Jackson, but he does send his regrets that he's not able to be here today, but please know that he is as committed as ever to the Harvest for Hunger campaign and to the Greater Cleveland Food Bank. He demonstrates that every year by serving as an honorary co-chair, this year with County Exec Armin Budish. But also, you kind of mentioned, and you, I think, Rick, you acknowledged hard work and the efforts of the employee campaign managers from the city of Cleveland. And this is part of our team that is here this morning, but just for the record, just so you know, the Harvest for Hunger campaign is actually run out of the mayor's office. And so my colleague here, I'll call her my colleague, she's actually my boss, Loretta Joyce, actually runs that operation, and she has an incredible team, and every year they find a way to meet or surpass the previous year's goal, much like the Harvest for Hunger campaign. My good friend Kristen knows that I say every year that this seems like it's a continuous campaign. It really doesn't ever end. And that every year the bar raises, but somehow we find a way as a community to meet that task, meet that need. We do that in a number of ways. And I'm going to go off script here also, Rick, and because it says in my talking points here, personal comment, same, just like yours. So, two things. One, I have participated in every Harvest for Hunger campaign drive that has ever been done. That's how many rings I have like a tree around my leg. I've been here that long. But more importantly, there's incredible work that goes on in the community, at this agency, with the board. I have the pleasure of serving on what we call the External Affairs Committee, and it was combined with a couple of other committees a while ago when we kind of went through a strategic planning exercise. But the significant point is, years past, a gentleman named Jim Yasnow, who was on our committee, we always brainstorming about ways to help support, raise additional funds, bring additional resources. And he came up with this great idea of doing something called Check Out Hunger. And we did the first Check Out Hunger campaign, and it was a tremendous success. We raised the incredible amount of $20,000, and we thought that was the cat's meow. It was incredible for that point in time. That same drive is now raising $2 million a year. And so that's a consequence of creativity amongst here at the board level, with the staff, with engagement with the community, with the local grocer community, with the employees there, and it's the community rising to the occasion and responding in a very appropriate way. So these are the types of things that we find ourselves being challenged with, or having to challenge ourselves, so that we can meet the need, which is really to try to stamp out hunger in our time. I believe that's the goal at the end of the day. As I say to Kristen from time to time, our real job here is to put ourselves out of business, but we know that's going to be a while before that occurs. So that said, I want to move on, and I get the opportunity to introduce someone who is very special to me. So I have the pleasure of introducing someone who is an employee of the city of Cleveland, like myself, works closely with seniors in our community. She runs an on-site food pantry that temporarily ensures food for seniors and filling in the gap for the absence of food, but also while she's doing other things on the benefit side to make sure that they are secure and other aspects of their livelihood. So since 2014, they've been running this pantry, and they've given out 10,000 meals to seniors in need. In addition to that, the Department of Aging also has established the first senior market in Asiatown neighborhood. And the food bank provides thousands of pounds of fresh produce and nutritious perishable items to them. They've served over 158,000 pounds of food in a very short period of time. That's 131,000 plus meals that they've provided for 5,700 people. And she works with an incredible network of volunteers to help make this goal get accomplished. So please welcome, as our agency spotlight person, my colleague, Mary McNamara, who is the Director of the Department of Aging for the City of Cleveland.
Good morning. Cleveland is home to 70,000 older adults. Those are individuals 60 years of age and older. That's about 17% of the city's population. They are the anchors of our neighborhoods, many having called Cleveland home their entire life. And they want to stay in their neighborhood, or age in place, as we call it. Unfortunately, about 22% of these residents over the age of 60 live in poverty, with an additional 17% living near the poverty threshold, which means every month, more than 15,000 Cleveland seniors are making hard decisions on how to pay for their home, their utilities, their transportation, their medical care, and food. And they're making these decisions based on a fixed Social Security income or a pension income, income from employment, or a depleting savings account. I've seen it firsthand as a social worker for the last 11 years at the Department of Aging, and now as the Director of the Department of Aging, I hear their struggles. They might be one of the 384 eviction referrals we received last year from Housing Court, seniors who could not pay their rent and were being evicted, or one of the 93 homeowners who reached out to us this winter because they couldn't afford to fix their furnace. They couldn't repair it on their own. Or one of the 649 older adults who called us and said, "Can you help us stretch our budget?" And they wanted to participate in our economic case management program. These are just 3 of the reasons I always say yes to every opportunity to partner with the Greater Cleveland Food Bank to help bring food to Cleveland seniors in need. Starting the food pantry in our office, that was easy. When a senior calls on Friday at 3 o'clock and says they're out of food, we must do something. You can only hear that story a few times before you think this must be solvable. But finding a pantry at 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon isn't always so easy. So our small food pantry opened in our office with the support of the Greater Cleveland Food Bank to just fill that gap. And then on Monday, we'd connect them with the robust network of food pantries in our community. And the produce market at Sterling Recreation, if you don't know where Sterling is, it's right down the road from Slyman's Restaurant. It's in a very diverse St. Clair neighborhood. And today at noon, seniors will begin lining up in this snow and in this cold to participate in this monthly produce market. I expect, as every first Wednesday has happened in the last year, more than 150 seniors will attend. They will walk in the snow with their shopping carts and their wagons. They'll speak English and Spanish and Mandarin and Swahili. As one 79-year-old senior told me last month through his translator, he knows he's welcome at this produce market because we have staff and volunteers who speak Mandarin. He told me the produce is healthy and fresh, and he uses it to help stretch his limited budget for those winter utility bills and those summer utility bills. Choosing to stay healthy by way of medicine or food should never be a decision a senior has to face, making that decision between food or medicine. We received a call last month from a senior who started crying on the phone with one of our team members. Her doctor had just shown her that she had become malnourished. She was ashamed to share with her doctor that she couldn't afford the medicine he prescribes and an adequate amount of food. Thankfully, she called us and through her tears shared her struggles. She was reluctant at first to tell us really what the issue was, because she's proud to be living independently. She loves to cook, but being called malnourished was a wake-up call. Older adults are particularly at risk for malnutrition due to changes in their body as they age. They may experience decreased appetite, weight loss, decreased mobility, have limited access to healthy food. Our team delivered some non-perishable food to her that day from our pantry, but more importantly, we told her who her local pantry was, and that was God's Harvest Food Pantry, a place where she can regularly get nutrient-rich food such as proteins and fruits and vegetables rich in calcium and vitamins. I have a quote on my desk at work from my favorite Irish singer, Bono, from the band U2. He likes green too, right? It reads, "If you want to eliminate hunger, everybody has to be involved." On behalf of Cleveland seniors, thank you for being involved and inviting everyone to join you.
Thank you so much, Mary, for your partnership, for everything that you and your team do for seniors in our community who need our support. And thank you for reminding everyone about why this effort, this community drive, is so, so important to our community. On that note, I have a very exciting announcement to make. I want everyone to know, if you didn't see it this morning in cleveland.com or hear it on the radio, that today only, anyone who donates to the Harvest for Hunger Kickoff Challenge before midnight tonight will have their gift matched by our fine partners at PNC and Medical Mutual, up to $15,000. Any gift that comes in before midnight tonight will be matched. So everybody can go to www.greaterclevelandfoodbank.org/match and make a donation today. This is a great way to get things started. We're over the moon about it, and I hear that gifts are already coming in, which we're just thrilled about. So please help us spread the word of this great matching gift opportunity made possible by our co-chairs and their generous companies. One of the important partners who help us spread the word about the Harvest for Hunger campaign and matching gifts and different ways that people can help are our media partners. There's so many people in our community who would like to do something to help, but they just don't know quite how. And so our media sponsors make them aware. They generate that visibility, and it is incredibly important. We have some of our media sponsors here today. I want to take a moment to recognize them. This is one of the things that media partners come across the aisle. While normally they may be competitors, they put that aside when it comes to hunger relief and the Harvest for Hunger campaign. So I'm going to ask you to raise your hands as I call the name of your organization. First, we have Cleveland.com and Advance Ohio. Thanks, Chris, for being here. WJW Fox 8. WKYC Channel 3. WOIO Channel 19. WEWS Channel 5. The iHeart Media Group, which includes WMJI, The Lake, TAM, KISS FM, MMS, and WGAR. Here. And Q104. Thank you all so much for the really important role that you play and for helping us kick off this effort today. I also want to thank again Karen Dolan, who's here, for serving for 2 years as our Harvest for Hunger co-chair. The wonderful thing is that wonderful, wonderful leaders like Karen, we never let them get far away, and so Karen has since joined our board of directors, and we just couldn't be happier about that. Paul, be warned that we never let good volunteers get away. Don't think you're riding off into the retirement sunset after this year's drive. I also want to recognize one more time our wonderful Harvest for Hunger kitchen cabinet, because we've got a really nice turnout today. Can I ask you to raise your hands one more time? And I'm going to propose, excellent, thank you. We've got a lot of corporate CEOs whose companies do so much for us. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us. And I'm going to propose that at the end of our event, maybe if we can get a picture of our co-chairs and honorary co-chairs and everybody on the kitchen cabinet. I think that would be just great. I also want to thank our volunteers, our External Affairs Committee, which Darnell mentioned, for their wonderful support, and the 18,000 people each year who help make this work possible, who make meals in our kitchen, who sort and repackage food here in our food distribution center. Volunteers last year, just the manual labor, not counting all the skilled volunteers who do things like serve on committees and provide guidance. Those volunteers provided more than $1 million in free service. And that is one of the ways that we can stretch every dollar to provide 4 meals. So it's really important, and we are grateful. And the last group I want to recognize is the Greater Cleveland Food Bank staff. So many times I get the credit for the wonderful work that happens here, and the fact is that these are the folks who are really doing it and making it possible. Every person in this organization is involved in the Harvest for Hunger campaign in some way, whether it's our event coordinator, Kevin, who puts on great events like today, or Carolyn in media relations, who's doing social media from the front row, or the folks who are working with volunteers to repack the food that comes in or to get it out to our agencies. It's a really incredible, committed group, and it is such a pleasure to work with them. We also do our own employee food and funds drive here at the food bank, and last year our team raised an average of more than $100 per person, making the Greater Cleveland Food Bank a platinum level company, and that's something that I'm just so proud and grateful for. So can I ask our team to stand, please, or to step forward if you're around the perimeter, or raise your hand if you're around the edge of the room. Some of them will be recognized by these green sweaters.